Alrighty, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Scruggs, and I'm the Community Outreach Manager for the Purple Line. We are thrilled to have you this afternoon for a community briefing related to testing along the alignment. Please know that today's briefing will, as well as the questions and the answers that are asked, will only be focused on testing. If you have questions about other topics other than testing, please contact our outreach team by emailing outreach@purpleLineMD.com. We wanted to let you know that this meeting this afternoon is being recorded, and you'll find this afternoon's presentation along with that recording soon on our website, purplelinemd.com. We're also informing all attendees that the use of AI-powered tools, including transcription, summarization, or other similar features, is prohibited by the Maryland Department of Transportation for all virtual meetings, such as our Microsoft Teams meeting today. Please be assured this presentation will be available soon on our website as mentioned, as well as the questions and answers that are answered today. For those of you who would like a live translation, Microsoft Teams format can translate this afternoon's comments into a number of languages, including Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, French, and many others. Instructions for seeing live translations are being placed in the chat section of this meeting. We kindly ask everyone to please mute their microphones and keep their cameras off until the short presentation is over and we move into the question and answer period. We also kindly ask that you please limit your questions to one question at a time, and then we can move around to a second set if we have time. Stephanie, a member of our communications and outreach team, will now relay this information to you in Spanish. Stephanie.
Hola y bienvenidos. Esta reunión se está grabando y pronto encontrarás la presentación de hoy junto con la grabación en nuestra página web purplelinemd.com. También estamos informando que todos los asistentes de hoy día que el uso de AI está prohibido por el Departamento de Transporte de Maryland para todas las reuniones virtuales. Por favor, ten la seguridad de que esta presentación estará disponible para ver en la web de Purple Line lo antes posible, junto con respuestas a las preguntas de hoy. Para quienes desean una traducción en vivo, Microsoft Teams puede traducir los comentarios de esta reunión a varios idiomas, incluyendo español, árabe, chino, francés y muchos más. Se están colocando instrucciones para ver las traducciones en vivo en la sección del chat. Gracias. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Stephanie. This afternoon, we will provide an exciting update on the expansion of testing along the alignment and an opportunity for you to ask questions to our technical experts about testing. We kindly ask that you hold all questions until after the presentation. This afternoon, we are joined by several technical experts from our Purple Line team. Jeff Sui, the MTA Systems Integration Manager. Suren Surkasun, the Design Build Systems Manager from Maryland Transit Solutions. And Matt Pripich, a Corridor-Wide Manager from Maryland Transit Solutions. Just a brief overview of some of the technical experts we have on the call today. Jeff Sui is a senior engineering manager on several projects across the United States, spanning from nuclear power to rail transit. And Jeff oversees the Purple Line systems integrations, including oversight of signaling, power, communications, and other technical aspects from design through testing and commissioning of the LRVs, ensuring they meet operational and safety requirements. Suren Surkasun, previous to the Purple Line, Suren served as the Chief of Systems Integration, as well as Vice President for National Transit Director for projects around the United States. Suren is the technical lead managing the complex testing, certification, and technical processes required to make the 16-mile, 21-station light rail system fully operational. Suren's oversight includes lengthy and precise processes required to integrate and certify the light rail systems, from train rescues in the tunnels to rigorous test runs. And Matt Pripich. Matt has more than 20 years of experience in all aspects of heavy civil infrastructure and transportation construction, serving as a project manager and project engineer for many rail projects across the U.S. At the purple line, Matt focuses on construction elements that are continuous throughout the entire corridor, including track construction and installation, the alignment's overhead catenary system construction, and station integration. Just a couple facts of our light rail vehicles, just some overview here. Our light rail vehicles are 140 feet long with room for 431 passengers standing and 80 passengers seated. There are 4 hanging bike racks in each car. They have low floors, which allow accessibility for passengers to board without climbing steps. We have all 28 LRVs on site that are that have completed initial train tests, and they were delivered ahead of schedule in November of last year. Purple Line, the Purple Line system is powered by 10 traction power substations that provide power to the overhead catenary system. OCS wires are highly energized wires that provide electricity to the LRV via the pantograph, which is pictured at the bottom of the slide here. The pantograph is a mechanical apparatus that transfers electricity from the OCS wires to the LRV, and the OCS wires along the alignment range from 14 to 22 feet above the tracks, and they all carry 1,500 volts of electricity. On the Purple Line alignment, we have 2 operations and maintenance facilities. The main operations and maintenance facility is in Glenridge. Glenridge Operations and Maintenance Facility houses Purple Line Transit operators. It's their headquarters. It is the main operations center, like I said before, and it is used for centralized personnel training. This maintenance facility is operational, has an LRV wash bay, and several maintenance areas and storage areas. Our second operations and maintenance facility is in Littonsville. This is a smaller secondary operations control center that does also serve as LRV storage. It also has a maintenance pit for LRV inspection and light maintenance. There also is a LRV operator rest station in this secondary operations and maintenance facility. So testing of the newly completed rail, overhead catenary system wires, onboard systems, traffic signals, gates, and other operational systems is required to open and operate the Purple Line. Each section of the Purple Line will undergo 2 distinct testing phases: static systems testing, and then dynamic systems testing, which includes live wire testing. Static systems testing. This is testing that is completed prior to the movement of any of the LRVs. No coordination is necessary with traffic intersections, and this testing includes the following pieces: verifying track and area safety measures, verifying proper power available to the LRV, testing traction power substations, and testing train control and communication systems. This testing is underway and will progress across the alignment. And then we have our dynamic systems testing. The dynamic phase of testing involves operating an LRV through a designated testing section. The different phases of dynamic testing include live wire tests, which is the phase that tests the overhead power and the tracks. The train control tests. This phase tests many of the track to train operations, communication systems, and sensors. And then the traffic to rail interface tests. This phase tests the train signal connections, allowing the rail and the traffic signals to work together. Dynamic testing is underway and will also progress along across the alignment. This is just a little overview of past, present, and future testing along the Purple Line alignment. As you can see here, there are different sections that we have tested from the test track all the way down to where we are about to test in section 7. And this just gives a little high-level overview of when we started testing in each area. As you can see, section 7 is begin in June of this year, as well as the other remaining sections 4, 5, and 6 to start in 2026 as well. Noting that end-to-end testing, also known as trial running, will this is just a quick little overview of what the sections are we've tested so far. This is our test track. The test track is a dedicated 1 mile section of track at the Glen Ridge Operations and Maintenance Facility. It is parallel to Veterans Parkway between Annapolis Road and Riverdale Road with no public access, where testing is ongoing. Section 1 is from the new Carrollton Station to the end of Veterans Parkway, where testing is also ongoing. Section 2 is from the end of Veterans Parkway to the College Park UMD Station, where testing is also ongoing. Section 3 is the most recent section that we've tested, which is from the College Park UMD Station to the Adelphi Road UMGC UMD Station, and that testing is also ongoing. Section 7, so we jumping from 3 to 7, is from the Littonsville Operations and Maintenance Facility to the Bethesda Station. That's on the west side of the alignment, and that testing is expected to start in June. Testing sections 4, 5, and 6 are listed below. So the anticipated boundaries for the remaining sections are still being confirmed, but once they are confirmed, it'll be communicated proactively and clearly before the beginning of any of that testing. But we anticipate section 4 being from the Adelphi Road, UMGC, UMD Station, to approximately the the Tacoma Langley Station. Section 5 from the Tacoma Langley Station to the Dale Drive Station, and Section 6 from the Dale Drive Station to the Littonsville OMF. And these testing sections are expected to start throughout 2026. Just a couple of reminders of what maintenance of traffic, or MOT, will look like during testing. During testing with our LRVs on roads or through intersections, so that is sections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Just some reminders to until traffic control measures or systems are operational, MOT crews will control intersections in these testing areas. This will include police, flaggers, intermittent traffic stops, and temporary road closures to facilitate this testing. A specific MOT protocol was developed for each section, and the testing hours are generally from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. periodically through 2027. The public should consider the testing section live and expect to see LRVs periodically during the testing period. During testing with LRVs on dedicated right-of-way that does not interact with traffic, so the testing section 7 that we're about to start testing in, a specific protocol was also developed for this testing section, and the hours for this testing section are generally from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. to test the electricity transfer for approximately the first week of testing. After that first week of testing, testing will continue periodically through 2027, typically from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. As always, public should consider the elect section live and expect to see LRVs periodically throughout the testing period. And as there are no interactions with traffic or intersections, there are not police escorts during this phase of testing in section 7. Just some general reminders of testing safety, During and after testing, the public should consider all track and OCS wires live and expect to see LRVs periodically, day or night. General reminders that if you see tracks, think train, always obey traffic signals, expect to train and look both ways when crossing any track. Use approved crosswalks only, and reminders not to walk near or on the tracks, nor to park, not to park or stop on tracks as well. As these wires do carry 1,500 volts of electricity, please assume all OCS wires are live and carrying extremely dangerous electric current. Just a little bit of testing outreach of how we're getting information to the public through briefings like this one today, through on-the-ground door hangers throughout impacted neighborhoods, on-site notifications, some coordination with UMD throughout their campus testing, in-person outreach to schools, to local businesses, apartment complexes, condos, HOAs, and impacted communities, school safety presentations, ride safe, bike, and scooter outreach, new testing and safety page on our website, purplelinemd.com, with videos and other safety testing information, and some safety-focused social media campaigns to our followers. You can follow the latest at purplelinemd.com. We have a little testing video here just to highlight it all.
Welcome to the Purple Line. Next stop, New Carrollton.
We do encourage you to stay engaged and connected with our team. If you're not already subscribed to our construction updates or social media platforms, please subscribe. As always, if you have any questions, our team can be reached by using these email addresses on the slide and the hotline phone numbers below. So as a reminder, before we open a question and answer session to our technical experts I have on the call today, Jeff, Seren, and Matt, the question and answer session will only be focused on testing. However, if you have other questions about topics other than testing, please contact our outreach team by emailing outreach@purplelinemd.com. To ask a question to our technical experts live, you have two options. You can raise your hand using the Teams function, or you can put a question in the chat feature of this of the meeting, excuse me, and we can answer them that way. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask our panel of technical experts, you are welcome to raise your hand or by placing the questions in the chat. Thank you for highlighting that, Kat. I appreciate that. But yes, I do have a question here. So please, there's a question or a comment in the chat of asking to hear the horn. There are actually horn and bell sounds in that video that we can share with you offline, so you can hear what that bell and the horn sounds like for safety purposes. If Luis, if you would like to send us your email address, we're happy to provide those videos for some context so you can hear it, what it sounds like. Casey, I do see you have your hand raised. Casey, if you'd like to ask a question, we'd love to help.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for this presentation. So I just want to confirm, at least for Section 3, which is also known as Segment 6, the area of the University of Maryland. So right now we're in the train control test phase, or is that correct? Or are we still in the live wire?
Seren, are you able to, Matt or
Yeah,
Seren,
I
or
can
Jeff,
take that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, we are in the train. You're correct. We're in the train control test phase. We'll be in the train control test phase for I would say at least 3 weeks, and then we'll move into the traffic to rail interface test phase.
Okay, so the testing that's scheduled for the month of June, I know I think I talked to Matt on the phone yesterday. So that is the train control test phase continuation. And then after that, it's going to be the traffic to rail interface test. And can you please correct me if I'm wrong? That will also be conducted overnights to start.
The dynamic portion of that will be at night. Yes.
Okay. And then after that, it'll at that point move into during the day, correct?
Once we're done with the train control testing and the traffic to rail testing, we don't anticipate coming back to the area. We will come back sporadically to do some regression testing, but we haven't scheduled at this point additional testing, in that area. Of course, when we do need to test there again, and it is scheduled, Matt.
I think maybe I misphrased it. When is testing during the day going to occur?
We don't have any anticipated daytime testing. I think even much of our traffic to rail interface tests, we're going to be conducting that at night.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Saran. Thank you, Casey. I see a question here from Paul. Paul asks, excuse me, previously, it had been referenced that there are total testing hour requirements for LRV equipment and for operators. Do the Livewire testing hours for equipment coming up now also duly count toward required testing or training hours for operators? Can you describe those requirements a bit? Saran or Jeff, or Matt, are you able to clarify their testing hours for that question? For operators, excuse me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't speak to the operators' training hours and how that accrues and what specific movements count towards their trainings. That's something we'll have to defer, Chris, to the operations team to get an answer, and maybe we can reply back separately after.
Absolutely. Yeah, Paul, we'll connect back with you when we'll connect you and we'll get some answers from Purple Line Transit operators and get some clarification and details for you there. Ricardo has a question. I see that Kat responded as well there, and those sounds can also be heard on the video that Kat also shared previously in the chat, where you can hear the train, the LRV passing by as it crosses Annapolis Road, and it's very quiet. It's designed for the landscapes across the 16-mile alignment just well, so it's great. I do see a question here from Kay Webley. Can you repeat the test schedule for sections 4, 5, and 6? The testing schedule, 4 and 5, excuse me, in the Tacoma Park areas. And so 4 and 5 are anticipated to start in 2026. So we don't have a firm start date on those yet, excuse me. But once those are confirmed, we will have a multi-pronged and multi-stage outreach campaign to the community and businesses in the area to have plenty of time so that you're aware of what the testing schedule, dates, and time will look like for those areas. I see Delegate Solomon, you have your hand raised. So we'd love to hear your question. Excuse me.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, and I appreciate the briefing. Just a question. I know the most recent report that we got on timelines had the trail completion pushed back a little bit to the fall. Could you talk about what plans now that we're we're going to be well underway with testing? If there are plans yet, or a clear schedule on reopening sections of the trail or the entire trail?
Yeah, happy to answer that question offline, as this is for specific testing questions, as the people I have on this panel are only testing technical experts. They're not involved in the opening or construction of the trail. So we're happy to answer your question. We'll touch base with you offline or a constituent of yours if they have that question. But the people on the panel today are testing technical experts.
Okay, well, I know there's a couple of other people here. Maybe they can't answer that immediately, but if they could respond in the chat, otherwise I'll follow up. But I know obviously this is the testing is important, but that's really critical to folks, particularly in our community.
Of course, absolutely. We're happy to share that information offline if we get some contact information or not, we share it to your office directly.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm gonna go back to the chat really quick. Sorry. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Kat. There's a testing and safety page there. Yeah, I don't see any other questions in the chat. So I do see Casey has your hand raised again. So Casey would love to answer your question.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. You're good. That's what this is for.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm kind of stuck on this. So when it comes to the testing, and maybe I've just misunderstood. So does that mean, at least as the current testing, the construction phase testing where MTS is managing it, does it mean that all of their testing, all of this phase of testing is going to be conducted at night so that we wouldn't really expect to see daytime testing until it's considered trial running? And that I thought was scheduled later on. So I just need to understand what the university needs to understand is, are we going to see any daytime testing in the fall? It's really, we need to know that.
Suren, are you able to provide a little context there?
Yeah, I prefer to get back to you on that. I don't want to say no. I don't think that would be wise, but we, obviously the university is somewhat of a special area. And I would prefer to communicate with with Javier's team and with Math and if something, if we do have testing that we feel absolutely has to happen during the day, we'll have to let you guys know way ahead of time. But at this point, I wouldn't want to commit and say no. Obviously, we try to avoid that as much as possible until, as you mentioned, we get into the trial running phase. But there may be tests that we absolutely need to do during the daytime. They may or may not involve a train, but I think in all fairness to the team managing work in your area, let me consult with them and then we'll get back to you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Suren. There's a follow-up question here from Kay. Two questions about testing speeds, excuse me. What speeds are we testing the LRVs at? And what will the operational speed, and will the operational speeds be higher? If so, will there be operational speed testing?
Yeah, the answer is pretty simple to that one. We test at the operating speeds. So, and obviously the operating speeds vary vary in different areas of the alignment, but both the train control testing and the traffic to rail testing requires us to test at the operating speeds.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And we also do and we shared this information before, but the LRVs are anticipated to travel along the alignment at local speed limits. So especially obviously where LRVs are in shared right-of-way, they follow local speed limits, but along the alignment as well. David has a question here. How is testing proceeding? Are systems performing as designed? Have any issues been discovered? Jeff, Suren, Matt?
I can take it, guys, and you can jump in. Testing is progressing very, very well from a technical standpoint. The purpose of early testing is exactly that, to detect, bugs and issues that we're going to encounter in any systems, test scenario. So I would say in general, we have not identified anything major, that we would be concerned about as far as how the equipment is going to behave and how it's going to operate once we put the line into operation. Many of our challenges are really logistical because We are testing in sensitive areas like the university. We are testing through intersections. And I think that becomes more of a challenge than the actual technology.
Perfect. Thank you, Suren. I appreciate it. Going back to the chat here. Kay Webley has a follow-up question, or sorry, a different question, excuse me. Is there any concern about trash or maybe debris being caught in the rails?
I can go ahead and take that. Concern, no, but it is a point of normal maintenance of the system to keep the tracks and flangeways clear of any trash and debris.
Thank you, Matt. And just to clarify, flangeway is the space next to the rail, the negative space. In if that was not clear for other people on the call this afternoon. I do not see any other questions in the chat, but like I said, I'm just going to put this up here to give a couple seconds if anyone has to ask one. If you do have additional questions, you're always welcome to email our outreach team at purpleline@purplelinемd.com. We will follow up with any of the questions that we said we would follow up with offline after this. And thank you, Kat, for placing that in the chat, outreach@purplelinemd.com. And like I said, we will follow up offline with any of the questions and share the video links for any of the Bell questions as well. I don't see any other hands raised, and I don't see any other questions in the chat. So I appreciate you all taking the opportunity to join us this afternoon and remind you that all questions will be posted on the Purple Line website from today's briefing. And this does conclude our community briefing around testing along the alignment. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.